All in favor? Are we good? Aye. Sorry. Um, all right. Call to order the Main Street Advisory Board meeting, March 26th at 8:10. Do you have any public comments? All right. Number 3, items for individual consideration. Receive and report, hold a discussion, take action on the approval of the minutes from the Main Street Advisory Board meeting held on February 26th.
I make a motion to approve.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. B, receive a report, hold a discussion, and consider recommending allowing open carry of alcohol at all times within the entertainment district. Yeah, we're for it.
So is it only during events now?
Technically, there's discrepancy, and so we want to erase that discrepancy. I've been told both things, and so, that has nothing to do with it. So, yeah, they probably thought that, but yeah. But I think technically we could, but we don't want the police to arrest someone and, thinking it's okay, and then us get a bad name. And so we just want to erase any discrepancy. And I think you'll see, well, the entertainment district, if you're going to, like Ashlyn, you had to go through a conditional use permit to get your ability to have alcohol. And so we encourage that to businesses. We're going to take that away if council is supportive of it. So it's the conditional use permit inside the entertainment district for that, which will be related to the open carry. So that's going to come up, and I thought that the open carry needed to be included with that ordinance, but I'm told it doesn't, and so I've got to get clarification on all that. But just wanted to know if you're supportive of open carry in the entertainment district, whether or not it's a special event or not.
Donna, have there been any reports or issues that you're aware of with the open? Okay, because I haven't
Right.
seen anything. I just didn't know if there was an issue that was raised. Right.
I've always thought it was open carry, honestly.
To be honest, so if we
And
always,
just because it's open carry doesn't mean like you can drive drunk down the street. You'll still get arrested
Right.
for
I mean,
that.
that's what I was
And-
going to say. Our bartenders still have to have their TABCs and all that, so they're not going to serve a drunk person anyway. And we're definitely not going to let them
Right.
leave with it. So
Well, I was always told the brick streets is basically what you can tell people that they can walk through.
So our entertainment district it includes here at Forest Park, and then it comes to Crawford and goes from the 700 block, Armstrong, all the way to the railroad tracks. So that's our entertainment district, and that's kind of our Main Street district as well, and pretty much the historic preservation district. Some of those have borders that aren't all the same, but that's kind of the way that I try to simplify it. I think this conversation would support that.
My only concern is, right now, everybody assumes it's open carry, and they only assume it because maybe you go to Let Us Indulge or wherever, and you get a beer, and they say, like during Fall Fest, and yeah, you can carry it up and down the streets. So it's not like out there. My concern is now, if you're going to put it in front of city council and in front of the public, it's open carry. Are they gonna start coming downtown with their own flask, like for Music on Main, for Fall Fest? Now they purchase it downtown, so does there need to be some sort of clarification that you have to purchase it at a vendor downtown or a restaurant downtown, and you can carry it up and down the streets? It's not a, everybody bring your coolers downtown and your open bottles, and, I mean, that's just my concern, because right now, I've not had any issues. And my insurance will go through the roof if people start showing up drunk. So that's just my only concern.
Like if it's just a slight modification of the wording to say alcohol purchases downtown are open carry. Although there are liquor stores downtown. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna back that
I would
up.
think it would be like one cup, right? Like you're not gonna have like a 12 pack. That's true, but I mean, what are you gonna do in that case? I mean, but I'm talking about the more obvious coolers and that kind of thing.
Well, I also hope they don't televise this as a news article.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
You
it's-
never know when that'll get
Yeah.
picked up.
The discussion, and that's what too, I'm sorry, I think I'm the one that's giving feedback, but the discussion too.
Oh, there you go. Oh,
I
nope.
moved mine too. It could have been mine.
Don't lose it.
Okay, well, and the thought too is that it's not like, I mean, they're, even if they go like shopping and stuff, y'all aren't gonna go, well, hey, it's, you can take your alcohol, go down the street. It's the people that come and see us, and we go, oh yeah, you can go ahead and, if that next place you're going is okay with it, it's, entertainment district, which means you can go down the street. I don't think it's been advertised as, yeah, you can bring your bottles down here and, like, it, right.
I mean, we don't advertise it as such, but if somebody asks, or it comes up in a conversation.
Because then it's like it's single serving, kind of like I'm trying to think of like the way it can be worded that is clear.
We definitely, at least for like Music on Main, we've advertised that you can bring a coolers, and we haven't had issues at like Music on Main or anything like that.
So, yeah, yeah, that's,
Theoretically, could just come to the park, bring a cooler, and just drink all day.
Well, the,
Just what we're talking about as far as what we're proposing. It sounds like
so, yeah, so the conversation, for example, if you're at Emily's and you go to the bar, you've got to wait on your table, you purchase a drink, and you want to sit outside and wait on your table, is that okay? So, I mean, I think most of us would say that that's okay. I know that you guys that have alcohol have to serve responsibly, and you have certain restrictions on that. You can't overserve, and whether or not you allow them to leave your premise is up to you. But this is just, let's say Salty Lime serves a margarita, somebody shopping, and then they want to come to Mom Queen shopping. That's pretty common, I would think. And so so it's just clarifying those. And again, I think we're all supportive of it because it hasn't been a problem. And I've got to delve into it to make sure it's even a thing. But at one point I thought it was, and so I just wanted to bring it before you so you could endorse it or not before it gets to council if that's the case.
I mean, we've had people in for a drink and, they want to move on to somewhere else, but they're not sure if they've really got time and, maybe they've only just got a beer or something, just say, you're fine, you can take it with you.
And there'd still be like public in talks and those kind of things. So if you're just sitting at the park wasted, then you'll get arrested.
I think we're just trying to make sure that it's in, like it is in effect, right? Like we all think it is, but we want to make sure
Right.
it's written somewhere. And
It's just kind of up to interpretation the way it's written right now. So
You don't want a black cop going down the street and arresting somebody when it says, she told me I could take this with me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. C, receive and report and hold a discussion, consider recommendations for a policy regarding rentals of Heritage Park.
Okay, we've talked about this for a while now, and it's getting closer. And so I tried to put everything all together, and this wasn't where I proposed that we land is not what I thought it would be in the beginning of this, but it makes total sense. And after I was I kind of landed on the proposal, I got an email from my friend in Plano. They have McCall Park. Do you know where that is, Rebecca? I thought you might. You do. So she said in 2016, McCall Park started out, it was open for anybody to rent. And it got to be a problem, things that you wouldn't want in your business district happening. And it's not like bad things, it's just things you wouldn't want in your business district, especially a Great American Main Street Award business district. Some visitors might expect better. And so she recommended, and I need to find that email. Do you have it, Sam? That I sent Sam some stuff overnight, and if you could just read it. No, the one from Melissa Hawkins. Maybe. It's from me. Stage sound. Yeah, it's just 12. Yeah. Okay. So scroll down a little bit and okay. I'm not going to read it all, but she said that started out, and there's a lot of things that people can rent for it. And, you could have protest, you could have this garage band that is noise, and you could have, just a lot of things that we might not want in our business district. If somebody's coming to shop at Mom Queen, Monarch Boutique, they might not be as impressed with that. And so basically it's saying that they've gone to curating their talent that's on the stage. And I believe that's where we are. I think that we at least need to start that way and test it out. So Sam, can you go to that Heritage Park one? There we go. Okay, so we had determined last time that we wanted to not have it for private events. So Hunter's wedding is not going to be there, and we're going to send you to Katy Park, Katy Depot, wherever. But we're not going to have private events there. So I think that we need to keep it for ourselves. Now, that doesn't mean only ourselves are going to use it, because as we all know, we allow others to have events downtown. So, for instance, and there's two parts to this. There's the stage use, which I think that it would be okay. You know, we'll approve who's going to be there, but they don't get any of the equipment, because that requires us to be there to operate it or to call in a sound technician. And so if we did allow them to use it, the price for use would have to equal the replacement value, and it's just not going to be feasible for people to rent. So it's going to be partner organizations. For instance, DDI has the use of the park as a part of the agreement for the sale of the park to the city, and so they wouldn't be us, but they would be a partner organization that we would or could approve to use it up to a certain amount of time. I'm all supportive of that. When the chamber has Fall Fest, you're a partner organization, and so that would be an acceptable use, because we are so glad you're doing Fall Fest. Tourism wants to have a fish weigh in, then that's the city. So I can see a lot of things happening there that we would partner with people to support, and I can even see use of the sound equipment, so you wouldn't have to bring some in, but it's going to have to be a partner organization, and we're going to have to be there. So, you know, we've got a lot of expensive equipment in that, and so we want to maintain it for the long haul. Let's see. So another, for instance, DDI has asked to reserve the park for Halloween. Well, we've already got it for Monsters on Main. So I would assume that would be for the pub crawl. Well, we all want the pub crawl to succeed. So we're thinking of putting Monsters on Main earlier in the day. And then, you know, I can see us on our video board promoting the pub crawl. But that's not DDI doing it. So we want events like those and shopping events to succeed. So we would support that, just kind of like our social media channel you might see on the video board. I think that we would develop a price for use of it, like ad space, just to have that. But really, the use of it is going to be at our discretion, is what I'm proposing. So let's see. We also have all the licensing agreements that would cover us. We want to maintain quality events. We don't, you know, we don't want events that are going to distract and shoppers, you know. I won't go into any more detail. I think you all get it. And then, let's see. So okay, the questions is what I wanted to discuss. I propose we curate the content in the park as I have described. If anybody uses the park, we're still going to have insurance and security deposits required. And you had said previously that no vendor markets would be approved. I believe that, we could have Fall Fest and have vendors around it. The park is made for that. But I don't think vendor markets as an event are appropriate. So now, if y'all have discussion or questions, yes, ma'am. I would, yeah, typically, short answer is probably. Typically, city facilities have to be booked, and there's a place online to send them to book. I don't want to unnecessarily have calls about that, and staff have to field all those calls and disappoint some people. So I think that a sign is in order. But I also, just like, don't walk your dogs on Main Street and let them use our planters. I don't want sign clutter. So you can't put a sign up for everything. But I think that it would be appropriate in that. However, if the park is not being used, it's a Saturday, no entertainment on the stage. Somebody wants to bring their birthday party down there and, use our park. I think it's open use, just like Forest Park is. You just can't book it. So you're taking a chance. You wouldn't want to say, okay, all kids, come to this birthday party and meet here, and then it be used. So you would want to book it if you're a responsible parent, I think. So, so that's my thought. But we want people to use it, so it's going to look different with lounging spots like a swing and chairs and tables. So for lunch, I envision people wanting to go out there, either eat their lunch, read a book, whatever. It should get more day-to-day use.
Donna, a couple things. With the vendor markets, is there maybe a thought process we could do? Because we know that, like, when the 700 block, when that whole complex that's going to be built is going to be kind of designed more for that kind of event. Is there maybe a way that we could think about allowing it temporarily at Heritage Park based on people applying for it and kind of
You mean like the farmer's market?
well, maybe something that would, like, just temporarily, and it's not a long-term use of the facilities. I don't know, maybe thinking outside of the box a little bit. I mean, trying to understand, like, how we could encourage this kind of stuff to happen, but also maybe not marry that Heritage Park to it, knowing that, because I think that if you could, sometimes vendor markets are grassroots in ways, and they can become like gain momentum, and so eventually, like, if someone were to have a great idea and say this would be the perfect place for it, like, okay, but temporarily you can have it here, but eventually this is going to be a better place for it. Kind of do a snowball effect to, like, stuff that would eventually be well suited for the 700 block. I don't know. I'm just thinking in terms of, do we want to, the thought process behind restricting vendor markets there, because I do think, like, Fall Fest obviously is going to.
Yeah. Well, you might want to, the way it's.
We put the tables there for people to watch the music, and we put tents so they have coverage, but we do not put vendors there.
Well, I was thinking, yeah, okay, because I know at least a couple of years on Dia before they would have it on the street, not on the park. But I don't know. I'm just thinking out.
Okay, so let me explain. I think you might want to use it for that because you're going to have vendor hookups around the park built in. Now, I'm talking like food vendors, water, electricity, things like that. So I'm not talking festivals, and I don't think any of us were talking festivals for the vendor markets. We had some people that are in the business of vendor markets that that came in,
Got you.
and it's in direct competition with the businesses.
Got you. Okay.
And so I don't think that we want to facilitate that because, Melissa's over here, she owns her own building, she's paying taxes, and then somebody competes with her and just pays a rental fee.
So if we do like a wording that's like, that kind of clarifies that a little bit.
For a larger special event.
Right,
Yeah.
something to that nature, because I don't want to, if somebody has a great idea that would work there. I was just thinking about the days where we did the Arts and Wines Renaissance, and like we were in different areas.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
know.
a special event
Right,
that
exactly,
has
and that's not your
vendors.
intention.
No,
Right.
no. And I don't know, I'm not going to speak for all you guys, but I don't think that that's the intent of this either. I think for, like for Doc Holiday, we have to have vendors to pay the bills. And so that's how we put Doc Holiday Festival on. And it draws more people. And so just vendor markets, utilizing Heritage Park as a storefront is not something that I think we would support.
We'll have the 700 block park, Forest Park, and Katy Park that could potentially hold something like
Right,
that.
yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking like until that actually gets completed, I don't want to hit any stop signs that might dissuade people from pulling off something really cool. And then the other thing I was worried about is like the First Amendment issue, because I like with the email from Plano, I understand where she was going with that, but how do they get around if it's a publicly owned park? How do they get around the First Amendment issue?
I'm sure you could still come and protest because you can be in the park, but you're not denying anybody use of it, but they also can't book it for that. So we would probably recommend another park nearby for them.
So if there's an event booked there too, I was thinking like, well, you couldn't prevent. But I know a lot of particularly protests have to do certain permits and
Right.
have certain
Right.
Police like there's a whole ball of organizing that has to be done. So presumably, then just under that process would also take into consideration what was already previously booked, so there wouldn't be a conflict.
Right.
Like what's going
So
on.
it's just setting parameters, and of course, this will all have to go through our legal department and make
Right.
sure that what we want to do is legit. But yeah, our city clerk is having a conversation this morning with the attorney to. I shared these ideas with her, and these are my first written draft. But I feel pretty comfortable with recommending that we go this way.
I think as well, if somebody asks for something that we don't particularly want in the park, you can get around that First Amendment thing by offering them something else. You're not saying no, you're
Right.
just saying, well, how about we do it here?
Right.
And most of the things we've talked about, if they want to do something like that, it would still have to go through the CERT process anyways.
Right, exactly. And permits. Right. You have to really, really want to protest and have money to do it. Yeah.
Usually events
But-
you do through the city, you have to have a security guard on hand anyway.
But those aren't the issues. So we recently had a coffee and chat that was highly controversial for a lot of reasons. And we got word the night before that a protest was planned in front of it. The police department did monitor the area, but they told us it's a public street, it's a public park, they can do what they want. as long as they're quiet. So they don't all go through the proper process. They were throwing it out on Facebook. And that's happened to us twice. In both times, we were told First Amendment rights, it's public property. If they want to protest, they can protest. And so you really can't stop that if it happens, like you said, it's organic and that's the biggest issue. So you can put the limitations in there for organized protest, but there can still be unorganized protests if they just throw it out on Facebook and they want to show up. So we've experienced it several times through our organization.
Because I feel like even just setting those parameters, depending on how it's done, it could be interpreted to infringe on the right to speak. But I feel like if legal is reviewing it and you guys are having like a forethought about it, then you might as well. That was just my concern, is that we're not doing anything that would cost the city legal fees.
Yeah, we will definitely run it through legal. It just wasn't to a point that it was even written so we could do that. And so
so I guess that's just one of the main concerns.
Yeah. And I think we're just putting the framework together. Dinah's right. You can't control people's freedom of speech, and so I think we just set the framework that manages it the best we can legally.
So, all right, make a motion.
So this was another, it ended up being late night. And I will be totally honest with you guys. I started with ChatGPT and just said, I want a good neighbor policy for downtown. Of course, I have spent a lot of time thinking about this and making notes, but I didn't have all my notes with me. But I just knew some things that we wanted in there. But I started with ChatGPT. So it's got a little bit more content. If you just scan that, and Sam, you don't have to do that. You can bring it back down. But if you just scan it, it's like 3 or 4 things per point. And go back up, please. Okay.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm not that good at
scanning. Let's just start with noise, lights, and music. That's got a lot of different things in that category. We may not want to group it this way. It may be better just in list form, don't do this, don't do this. But ChatGPT, my buddy, said, don't make it negative, make it more positive. We'll see how good they did, and some of these I added. But follow local noise ordinances and quiet hours. I think that I don't think that's a problem. It's just not been a problem. But do we leave it in there? Keep outdoor music at reasonable levels. Now, like if you walk by Hey Sugar, they've got music playing, and I think that's kind of cool. But if they had a neighbor that was playing music and they, both got it a little too loud because one wanted to have it louder than the other, and, it's, that could be a problem. But I think it's just common sense. However, this whole thing is common sense. So,
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, right. Respond promptly to complaints. That is, that is a given. But So that's not my words, but that's just an example. Cleanliness and waste. Clean streets equals no visual clutter. Check storefronts, sidewalks, or alleys before you open and keep them clean. So I edited this a little bit, but I would say that a lot of people, you come in the back, you don't go to the front and see if there's any clutter out there, maybe. You know, you've got accumulation of leaves or trash in your storefront, and I just think it's a good idea because you don't want your customers to have to walk through that. Again, it's a no-brainer, but it gives us a better appearance as a district. So I'm kind of seeing how in the weeds we want to get on this, but anyway, I'll go on. Keep outdoor music. Next. Properly dispose of trash in appropriate dumpster. Remove litter and graffiti promptly. Report any graffiti that's not on your property. So we haven't in a long time had graffiti, but when we do, we get rid of it really quick because we don't want anybody thinking that that's okay and coming back and doing it. They're going to have to beat us at their own game if they're going to do that. There's some we installed, there's some under the viaduct. I'm not going to get ahead of myself on that. There's some under the viaduct, and as part of the big event, we want to clean that up too. It's removed from our main street, but still, it's not okay. And so, if anybody sees any, they would either clean it if it's on your property or report it. So not that I'm aware of. The recycling companies that served our area, the disposal was pricing them out of the market. And so it just was discontinued. I'm not sure if there are some collection points that we could promote, and we can look into that. Sam, would you make a note to check into recycling? Okay. Keep grass, if any, mowed and edged with all hedges trimmed. So especially Chestnut and Woodard, Crawford, I'm sure, has areas that are grassy, and individual property owners are responsible for that. Well, it affects our whole district because, people don't know that are coming in who's responsible for it. Pets are welcome downtown in several businesses. However, pet waste is not and must be bagged. That can probably be better worded, but you get the concept. We have planted areas that are just dog restroom places, and if I'm tending to the plants, I don't want to be in there with a bunch of pottying. And so it's just not okay. That's not an okay place. I've noticed on several of our monuments that they get up against that and go to the bathroom and leaves a stain. We just got to encourage people to train others not to do that. But Chestnut, there is a grassy strip, and we have our new dog park. So safety and accessibility, you have to maintain 6-foot pedestrian path on sidewalks. So a lot of people put things out on their sidewalks, and it may not be in this, there's a sidewalk policy and sidewalk dining policy that we already have. that regulates and encourages people to put things on their sidewalk, but you have to have insurance on file with the city. If your customer comes down the street, the city owns the sidewalk, your rack blows over on them because there's a big gust of wind, then the city's liable. So that means that you, if you're going to put stuff out there, need to have insurance on file with the city. Well, anyway, we're going to make the sidewalk dining and sidewalk usage a separate page in this, so we won't go into much detail there. Do not block ADA access points, that's ChatGPT. Report suspicious activity to police department when necessary, and I think, Melissa, you've experienced a lot of that and had to call the police. You can probably help us be more specific or words with that for your workers. You could probably help what you tell them. Well, I don't want to make it too wordy, and that's kind of my point with going through this. I don't want to lose them. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. That we don't want our customers to be scared and think, yeah, I don't feel safe when I come up there. Whatever it takes, we've got to make them feel safe. So that's reporting anything to the police. But let's see, let's move on. Train staff on de-escalation and safety practices. And then report suspicious activity. Okay. Anyone selling outside of the business is required to have a sell and solicit permit on file with the city. I'm betting you 100% of them are going to turn tail and run when you ask them for that. So just ask them for that. We've got a little card that we passed out before, and I've got one on my desk that that describes that in more detail.
How is that monitored?
So,
For instance, the Christmas parade. Those people show up every year, and I spent 3 years seriously running them down, getting them to leave. And the PD can't stop them. Nobody stops them. And now I just said, whatever. They walk up and down the street and they sell those $20 ones. And I mean, I can't as a staff.
yeah, so it's your event. You have the ability to monitor it. Right.
I don't have
No, I understand,
and the
but
police don't stop them.
you've got I know that.
Yeah.
Same,
That's where my hands are tied.
yeah, same thing, but you have the permission to monitor it and to control what happens inside the boundaries of your special event. Just like we have that at the 4th of July, and the same guys probably come and sell lighted things and patriotic things. It's like, we've got these vendors over here that are paying vendor fees. You cannot do that. So you tell them to leave and they go somewhere else. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I understand. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Nighttime events seem to be. Yeah. But but it's more the bread salesman, the yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
and so sell and solicit. It requires a sell and solicit permit, and that's a common problem. Okay, where are we, Sam? Can you traffic? Okay. So I would say this is something that is common sense, but is commonly, yeah, to me it is, but but we've gotten much better because of construction, being courteous to each other, um, but anyway, you nor your employees should be allowed to park in front of your other businesses. So you could say, don't park on Main Street. Well, Spencer's got a nice new building over here on a side street. He's not gonna. He's wanting his customers to get to him too, and so you just got to use courtesy, and so that's that. And kind of like you, do you require your people to park? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, we've got a special construction section, so that's going to be a separate page, just like sidewalk dining. But okay, so coordinate deliveries during low traffic hours and utilize alleys if at all possible. I know some of them just their delivery driver stops in the middle of the street, and it's really meant for deliveries to be in the alleys. However, with construction, you can't always do that. So side street's better than Main Street, but most of the time you can get around. It just irritates some people that they have to pass them. Anyway, late night responsibility. This is not, the first one is, we'll call it Nisha's pet peeve. Leave lights on timer to showcase our window displays. You are missing the boat if you don't showcase your window display to all those diners and other people that are downtown at night. So that's all I'll say about that, but that tip is in there. Monitor customer behavior outside your business. I would think that's a call the police type event, but I don't know. Discourage loitering and excessive noise. We don't have problems with that. Provide safe exit environments. Community engagement. So maintain open communication with neighbors. Participate in the downtown Facebook group and business owners meetings and events. So that was a chat GPT. So it's not just Donna's words, but I did add Facebook group in there because we have the Facebook group. Address concerns respectfully and promptly. Report shoplifters or harmful activity to the police, and then share on Facebook business owners group. Do your part to keep downtown friendly and looking its best. Report issues. Contact and accountability. Post a visible contact number for concerns. Designate a manager or liaison for resolving issues if you're not at your business. Respond to complaints with a reasonable time frame. Okay, so that's all chat GPT. Right. So if you will let me know who that is, not just add them, add them for approval. So I will do that, but many times I know Melissa Posa, but I don't know Audrey, whatever, I don't know who they are when you recommend them. And um, often friends or neighbors, especially when a hot topic is coming up, are just wanting to get on there, and that's not okay. It's not a gossip section. It's for the productive use of businesses. So yes, just tell me who you're adding and why
And then
and that
probably also make sure that those people get removed when they no longer
yeah,
work for you.
and that's what's so hard about it when we start doing that, because I can scan down through there and I see Melissa Posey's still there, good, Hunter, still good. But I don't know when you've had a turnover in employees and it's harder to manage. And so that's why. But signage. So this is my addition to it. As you can tell, it's not as refined and structured. We have had an outbreak of feather flags in our downtown and blade flags, and they are not okay. And I don't want you, Rebecca, spending your hard-earned money on a feather flag and then the city coming and telling you that you can't put it up. They're not okay. They're not allowed downtown.
Got rid of them.
They're like the ones that go
Oh, I
like.
got you. Yeah, I got one on my food trailer. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even when they're in the back of a pickup truck? Is that not allowed?
that's especially not allowed. And you can't put a big old wooden sign in the back of a pickup truck either in front of your business or at the corner.
Right, okay.
So that's not the district that we're trying to create. But it says, please follow all signage regulations, no feather flags. What we do have approved so that you can show people you're open is American flags, the Yellow Jacket flags, and the Denison flag. People want to put open signs up, and that's not approved. If you have a special flag that you want for everybody to get, then there's a process that you can go through to do that. But hodgepodge is not something that I think is appropriate for our downtown. If you want to show you're open, and I'm not talking construction, but if you want to show you're open, the American flag has been a really good way to do that. Put your American flag out. Well, some of us don't have holders in our sidewalks anymore. So I'm proposing, and it says new there, that you would put it on your building, like mount it to your building. There's some that are nicely done. Monarch Boutique has, I think, one that's something that's mounted to their building. And so that's the way I think we need to handle that. Let's see, banners are not allowed, and you can get a temporary permit for a banner, like maybe 40 days. I didn't know. It was late. I didn't want to look it up. I wanted to go to bed. So there's a specific time frame, like 34 got one when they had construction. That was a special construction banner. Deviled Egg got one when they were on Shark Tank, and they put it on their building. There's a certain time limit to that, but there is a permit process you go through. Back entrances should be numbered to correspond with the building front. Many don't do this. I think many more have during construction. But if a fireman's coming through the back or a policeman, you want them to know where they are, not to guess. I can pretty well know what's your entrance and what's your entrance. The policeman, maybe we got a rookie and we want them to not have to think about it. So that's a good thing. Signage is on the back is encouraged but must be approved through historic preservation. Okay, construction. We have a separate policy for being a good member during construction. Please feel free to distribute as needed. So, Melissa, you would have the construction policy. You would take it to the construction people. Yeah. However, that may not be the end of it, but at least that's the first step, I think. And then we've got something to enforce. But then we have a separate policy for being a good neighbor during construction. No smoking. We've got a city ordinance that says you can't smoke within 25 feet of a door. Attachments. So a block by block parking map was mentioned, and so I put that as a possible attachment. Then the downtown development good neighbor policy, which is the construction. And I think there's one more. Is there, Sam? If you scroll up. That's summary of sidewalk usage policy. So if you've got sidewalk dining on city property, there's appropriate furniture and how it's located that can be approved. Like you can't put it in the walking path and things like that. So there's a policy. I'm working with NEAR on that at 34 Chop House. The policy was written before the streetscape was built. We wanted to encourage it, and so we got ahead of it. We may need to adjust it just a little bit, but a minor adjustment is going to be easy to do, and we're kind of working with him as a test case. So we want to encourage that, and of course, being across from Heritage Park, he's going to want his guests to do that. So I know, thank you. It was long, and I appreciate you bearing with me. I didn't intend for our good neighbor policy to be this long. And again, I used ChatGPT. Some of the things I thought we could probably do without those. They weren't my hot buttons or your hot buttons that I've heard, but they could be potential, especially with more activity at night. So Scam, could you scroll back to the top, please? Do you like kind of that format, or would you like more pictures, or just talk to me? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask how this is going to kind of be policed? Because don't me wrong, I'm all for it.
Right.
But there's still stuff that necessarily as business owners we can't run outside and be like, hey, you can't do that. Like,
So usually what happens, what you're doing, and this is not the case, what you're doing is irritating your neighbor. So they call me or the police. So, I can work through some of it. And so this is kind of giving us permission to have open conversations. So I would call Ashlyn. I don't want to call the police or another city department. Let's say flags. I'm going to call you first and say, hey, you got a flag out there that's not in compliance. You can either remove it or not. I understand you spent good money on it, but I'm sorry, it's not okay. So the city, another department is going to come and tell you to remove it. So sometimes that works, sometimes people don't remove them. Okay, well, game on. If you don't want to be dealt with nicely, then to control that, my option is to call the other department or the police. So
technically this is going to run through y'all. Y'all are going to field complaints.
I don't want to be that, but it just naturally happens. So as you and I didn't put all the little call the police and their number is that non-emergency number and emergency number. Of course, it's 911, but I didn't put all that in here or our numbers. That will probably be added for ease, but I don't want that to be our full-time job because then we couldn't do our full-time job. I want open communication though. So typically what happens is you would talk to your neighbor. They want change. Okay, then you would call me. How can we handle this? And I would wrap my brain. We would talk, look for a way. And then, you've got to call the authorities in to solve the problem. If we've got rules against it, no smoking. Let's say some of your patrons walked outside and got in front of a patron at the next business and they didn't like it. Here's the policy. You can't smoke. Do you want us to call the police? It's bothering somebody else. So I don't think they want the police called, and it's all about approach. I think, how they're approached. Somebody would bow up or bow up and, yeah, bring it on. Others would say, okay, I got it, thanks, I'll move or whatever.
There was a butt disposal thing put out in front of our brewery in the last week or so. Is that city, or am I being punked by somebody? Like, 'cause now I'm thinking, I'm honest, like, this is kind of like,
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
it's one of those ashtray things with like.
He could have noticed.
Yeah.
So
We
for
asked where
Ashland,
it's situated and how far it is from the door, and I'm thinking in terms of like that because,
so Ashland
Yeah,
requested
we
one.
asked for one because it wasn't necessarily our people because it was cigarettes. We don't sell cigarettes, but there was butts everywhere. So I just asked that
Yeah.
one be brought.
So
But Jason wasn't having to clean up.
So what he might have done is notice a lot of cigarettes in the sidewalk and in the planters.
yeah.
And so he might have put one out there. What it is for is not for people to stand out there and smoke. It's for people to put it in the appropriate receptacle before they come in your business. So if it's causing a problem, we can
No,
move
I just wanna
it.
make sure
Yeah.
it was legitimately. It just occurred to me that someone else could have been like,
Oh.
like a neighbor could have been like, hey, let's
Yeah.
put one of these out
We'll
there.
ask.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Some people might have some sort of a little pot out there, for people that work there
Yeah.
and to dispose of them. But I've been seeing a lot of sidewalk cigarettes, and so
Yeah.
Jason's probably having to individually pick those up and not thinking that's so cool.
I would understand
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I've done my fair share of like.
Front or back? Front or back? Well, the police need to be called then. So, that's a, don't call Donna, go to, straight to the police because it's illegal. So anything that's illegal, you can go straight to the police, please.
Can I get a motion to consider the updates to the downtown good neighborhood policy?
It's not action items, so unless you are wanting to vote,
Um, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, but we can add to it, like if you have additions. But I would like for it to be endorsed before I send it out.
sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah. And if you think of any other things, we can make it a working document. But I would rather, instead of Donna decide
So yeah, we have the notes in the packet. Chris, as you'll know from some window, he's the new president of the Texoma Blues Society, so that's exciting. We've talked about the healthcare program the last couple of times. The Arts Council's still working on that and a name and voting that through. They've got a lot of stuff on their agenda they've been working on, so that hasn't gone through yet, but that's in the works. Still working on Rhythm and Rails and Bus Denison. We actually had our meeting yesterday, and we talked through. We have a location on every block that's willing to host a busker. We work with Paul, that's in our music-friendly group. So he's gathering the buskers and placing them. So that should be another awesome time on April 18th, which is also the volunteer breakfast. So come to Eisenhower Birthplace at 9 a.m. For that. Yes, yes, to get free breakfast. Yeah, yeah, cook us breakfast. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's pretty much. We're still working on Rhythm and Rails, and Bus Denison's coming up.
Okay, I might have forgot, but Rhythm and Rails, we have a framework for it, and so, for instance, 34 Chop House said they would participate, but they haven't said what they're going to do. They really don't have the space for a band, so they might do acoustics. It's not critical that we know yet, but it's getting closer to the time. So we're going to send the framework out that we have, and let's say somebody wanted to change something or add something, or you've got a performer that you want to add, then we want you to encourage you to do that. So that's kind of the point we're at now.
This wasn't necessarily discussed in Music Friendly, but we had our Music on Main announcement, so I hope you all saw that and are excited about that. We are still having it at Forest Park this year, just with, I think we talked about that, but with Heritage Park not being fully completed, we have not been given the green light to host it there. So we'll host it at Forest Park again, which will be great, and then we'll look forward to Heritage Park next year.
Pardon? Doc Holliday? Okay. Oh, okay. I turned the page a little bit prematurely. Okay, wake up. So I don't have anything on the TERS, but I do have, I'm trying to think through anything that y'all that I have to report on the TERS, but there's nothing. The streetscape, the 400 block got opened. That was a breath of fresh air, I think. And so I believe it's May 4th. It could have been extended due to weather, the opening of the Bannon intersection. So that's after Doc Holliday, but it's not going to be open. The sidewalks will be open, and they're trying to accommodate as much space as possible for all the businesses in that area. Let's see, they poured the sidewalks on North Fannin yesterday. So last week was the east side. This week is the west side. So all that on North Fannin, including the street, is completed. So that fence should come in, and then maybe starting next week, depending on when the fence comes in, there's going to be a crosswalk. So the current crosswalk is going to be in the construction area, but with the fences moved in, you'll just have to go a few more steps and still get across the street. So that will be open. And they're moving up the 400 block alley now, so that's occurring. And I think the current end date is June 22nd. So that could change because of weather, but that's what it is now. And I'll answer any questions.
When's the park going to be done?
So it would be the end date of June 22nd. The park amenities are going to take a lot longer. like they want all be installed and operating. They tell me that they have to test the sound, so that will take a little while. This is what I've been waiting for. Our ICAC signs are installed. Yes, you may not be as tired of hearing that as I am of saying it, but they're installed. So there's one behind Albertsons that show the roundhouse area, and that's where the graffiti is, and we're going to erase that this weekend. And then there's one kind of in front of Melissa's. Is that ICAC sign in front of your, or is it down? Okay. In that area? Yeah, at the Rialto. And then there's one on the 700 block. I don't know if they got that installed for sure. I haven't been back down there, but they were installing them, and that was the last one. So that's nice to have that off. So I don't know about updates on this. I sent out an update to all the businesses last weekend, and I think that that's kind of, get your game on type update. If we have new businesses that have never been here before, it's just kind of here's what all's going to happen. I said that we won't have street closures. We are looking at closing the 500 block to vehicles because it's already closed on the east end because of construction. And the west end, we really need to close for safety of our performers because we're having to use the radio vision stage on the other end. And so to actually see that, you need to be out in the street. And we're going to have our food vendors there. So I think it's enough of a hub that we could close it and people will still be in that area. So that's the only change from the email that I sent that we discussed in the committee. Yes, we're just proceeding with plans for Ike's birthday, and there's no new report other than what's in your committee notes.
Committee reports, Downtown Denison, Inc.
Does anybody want to talk about it? I know that everybody seemed to have a very successful St. Patty's Day pub crawl and Shamrock Stroll, and so that was just a great day. Okay, 5,000
People.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it was better than last year. I would say that.
You know,
I
whether
think it's the best year that I've remembered.
It's the best year festival single day sales that we've had in 5 years.
I heard that from multiple business owners that it was best sales.
I think, and then we talked about the fact that the weather probably had a lot
yeah,
to do with it.
yeah. But we'll take that, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also have Easter egg extravaganza on April 4th. I think that's about all the updates we've had.
Moving on to the chamber.
So Diana had to leave.
Not that I can talk for the chamber, but I talked to Diana before, and she said they sold out at their luncheon yesterday, which is awesome. And that they were just working on the clay shoot is their next big thing they're working on.
Tourism.
Hello. We have the Progressive Dinner this weekend. We closed sales online. We hit 78 people, and we are also anticipating a day of sales. So we'll probably stop day of around once we get around 90. If you feel like y'all can handle more, let us know. But it's going to be a really great event. We're super excited. Lunatic should be delivering balloons in front of y'all's businesses around between 4 to 5 p.m. We'll have ticket pickup at the visitor center, and then we will release them to y'all. But it'll be, stroll at your own pace. They can spend any amount of time at y'all's businesses, and we've already worked on an email that we sent to y'all about, serving after 8. It's really up to you. And if you are willing to, like, if y'all are willing to continue to cook steak, until 8:30
I was
p.m.
gonna say hopefully 90 because I have to smoke it all. So
I was wondering if you're gonna have to
yeah, I'm
take care of
smoking
another
all this
cow for it.
tenderloin. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. So yeah, I can do 90 for sure.
But we really appreciate all of y'all's support and your help in promoting it. I think at the last CVV meeting, Ashley reported we had like 13 sales or something like that, and it has jumped in the last 2 weeks. And so we're really excited that it's gotten so much positive engagement, and hopefully we'll be able to start food tours around downtown out of this. So fingers crossed for that. It's mostly Sherman and Denison, but we do have a group from Houston. We've got a couple of people from DFW. We have several from Pottsboro. I think we have a couple from Austin, maybe Lubbock too. Yeah. Yeah, mostly locals. Parks and Recreation has their annual Easter egg hunt April 2nd at THF Park. That always has thousands of people, so hopefully you and your families can make that. North Texas Arts Fest is May 16th through 17th, so I'm working with them on an art tour for that event. So we'll be going to businesses downtown that service, creative design, art, stuff like that. So like Split Window Studios, Shonda Rain, Goodwill, obviously the Arts Council. We'll have racy guests talk about film in Denison, so we're excited to have that addition to the event. And then Sam Oswald with Red River Railroad Museum, he's going to lead an artist panel during the event too, so I think that'll be a huge success. Thank you for letting us use the Pullman room for that. But we think that'll be really cool for the artists to be able to talk about what they do and how they got into it. And then we have the Visitor Center first year anniversary on May 22nd. If y'all come in and shop, you get a free tote bag. That's going to be all Denison themed, so we're excited for that. And our website, I was going to preview y'all's, if that's okay. Are you okay with that? So this is what downtowns will look like.
We'll have a new picture.
It'll be a video. So similar, if y'all have been on Discover Denison's website, we've got that video that plays. So we'll have a new video for Discover Denison, and then downtown will have their own video that plays through. We've got the awards at the top to let everybody know how accomplished downtown is. And then basically like the things to do. They have community and services really big, but Donna wanted everything to be the same size. So events.
That's Sam, can you put it up just a little bit to all that strip? Okay. So that's from categories from our downtown directory, the printed directory. So I wanted them all to be the same size. And, music, dining, culture, I think they proposed changing that to attractions, but anyway, whichever it is, those should all be the same size, but that just mirrors our directory.
And then it'll list all of the events. And then we've got a separate little section for parking. So it'll be the little directory that lists all the free parking that's available downtown. News and updates. Grant's going to start working on some blogs and news articles and all of that. So we'll get those. And then, like, our page, we'll have all of our designations and awards listed. And where it says visitor guided newsletter, it'll be, links to the downtown directory or socials.
PDF of the printed.
Yes. But do y'all have any feedback?
I do have a question about progressive dinner, and this could be, I'm going to ask all of us who are part of it. What are y'all, like, if you're the hors d'oeuvre or the entree, because they did buy tickets, am I to treat them to a drink too? Because food's going to
So
get,
I
you know what
talked
I mean?
to
Are they
you-
going to come in looking to purchase also?
I talked to
I'm
your
trying to
mom
feel
about
like
that.
I'm
So
the
what y'all are
business
going
of-
to do is, or we're going to tell them
Right,
ahead of
you're good.
time if, like, you're a food stop, like water tea is
Okay.
free, but
Okay,
if they want to purchase like one of y'all's bottled sodas
Okay.
or, a beer or something like that, that's,
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to make them. They'd already pay for this event, so I want them
Yeah.
to feel extremely welcome. I'm not trying to nickel and dime them while they're there, but I didn't know how to go about that. So I was
and
curious
we'll
what
talk to
y'all-
them too,
Okay.
like as they're signing in. So if it's a food stop, like
Okay.
y'all and Deviled Egg Co. are
Right.
the only ones that aren't like having alcohol with the food pairing. So you would just say like, hey, we've got water or tea for free.
Of course,
If
yeah.
you want something else, it would be for purchase, but this is what like
Okay.
we're
This
serving
is
you
kinda
for
like
free.
Part of your package.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. I
And
can
we'll
do that.
tell them that. Like
Awesome.
Deviled Egg is gonna let everybody know if they want a drink there, they have to
Right.
pay for it.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah. I just didn't want to catch anybody off guard. So.
No, we'll make sure to tell them too. So if you do have anyone say that they were not told that,
Yes.
let us know.
Okay. I will. I got you.
I'm not gonna say they're a liar, but
Yeah. No. Yeah. For sure. Like.
but we're definitely
nonchalantly.
gonna tell people that as
Yes.
they're checking in.
Okay. Perfect. That's exciting.
It's just a shame. It looks like it's going to be a bit colder. It looks like it's going to be a bit colder as well on Saturday.
I know.
It's like high of 65. I'm excited.
I know. It's gonna be like a little chilly, but it seems like it's gonna be really sunny.
65's in the morning, then it comes down more. So
Exactly.
the food and the drinks are warm.
The more you drink, the warmer you feel. So it works out perfect.
On the website, will there be like a retail or shopping tab, like where it says dining and stuff?
So, go back up. Well, the site map includes one.
Yes.
I, yeah, it's like a main thing, so I didn't notice that wasn't in here. We had two different things going on. We had a look, what it's going to look like, and a site map, and they did not match. And so the site map, I'm sure that we're going to stick to that, and shopping is a big part. These were just the other categories, and so I miss that they didn't have that.
This one was just to give us a look of what it like, kind of the format and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like Disney.
For sponsorship fee, we will include Raise on the main page. Yeah.
Right at the top.
But any
No, it looks
questions?
good. I like it.
Thank you. And then our page has like a sketch of the Katy Depot and Eisenhower Birthplace and stuff. So
Ours is kind of a light blue. It looks white at the top, and theirs is kind of a darker blue. think the reports are all there, but I will talk about the Meet Me on Main. So that's the name that we came up with for our party after construction is completed. The event is set for August 8th, which is tax-free weekend. And so it's all-day shopping event downtown with music promotions and business participation, exploring branding and engagement ideas, block activations, ribbon cuttings, giveaways, scavenger hunts via QR code check-ins, etc. So the rest is yet to come, but that's the framework for it. And if anybody else wants to add any details from it, they can.
We're just strolling.
Not even strolling, they're just checking in and checking out. You know what I mean? That way, if we can make that somehow going.
Do we already have that like technology? It would just like an app.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if this
Brian
was
from
something
Untethered
maybe-
Feathers had come, and I think he had seen it implemented somewhere else. He was kind of telling us about it, and it was all great ideas. We just need to implement it. So.
Economic vitality?
I think it's all written. Sam's got the Imagine the Possibilities tour, though, and that's really exciting. So tell him about that.
So the Imagine the Possibilities tour will be on. Oh, remind me now. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, May 16th. It's the same day as the North Texas Arts Fest. So attendees will come by our little table at the visitor center. Jordan is letting us use that as our base. We'll have maps and informational materials and all of that stuff there. And then people will take their maps and then scatter to our participating properties. In the past, we've had balloons out front of those properties so people can see them as they're walking down, like we do at all of our events. But they'll be able to go tour with a realtor or the property owner, whoever that property decides to put there, and get more information about the available properties that we have in downtown. So I don't remember off the top of my head how many we have right now participating. I want to say it's around 10. That sounds right. But kind of spread throughout the downtown in theory. But yeah, the hope is just to bring some more investors and tenants and all that fun stuff to downtown and show off our cool buildings.
Every building will have a realtor representative at their building, so it's good for them to be able to try and sell the building or lease the building. But the idea is to bring people that are interested in Denison, maybe don't know what kind of business they want or building they want, and kind of see what's available and what kind of properties we have.
That's a lot. 10.
Only 4 of them are for sale, though, I think.
They're up for lease this time.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's on May
May
16th,
16th.
or that Saturday. That's the Saturday.
Yeah.
I think it was good. We did it, I guess 2 years ago. Last year we skipped, but I worked it that year, and we had a lot of people that were. I think a lot of people kind of treated it kind of like the loft tours, where they're just curious and looking at the buildings. But I know we for sure had people that were interested. So I count that as a win, even if we have 10 people that show up that are interested in.
Yeah,
Um,
and a couple years ago, that's how Marcus found the depot, I believe.
Mhm.
It's through the Imagine Possibility Store, and so that's how that whole revitalization project started. Was through him finding it for this tour. So
It was 214 West Main, so he started in 214 West Main
exactly,
and
yeah.
then went to the depot. But yeah,
I do
we
it
have
just to be nosy.
Me too.
we have Fit Bella. That space is on the tour.
I can
Um,
post my list if you want. I'll post it. I know the 116 and 118 West Woodard, which is right next to where Roxy used to be.
that's for sale.
Yes, those are for sale.
And we have the drawings being done of those.
Yes, from the
State architect.
state
Yeah.
architect, yeah. Completely fine. So we've got 100, no, 104 East Main, so that's that lot behind Eagle Employers. 104 South Houston, it's attached to the
It's
Starbuck building.
well, it's actually attached to Eagle Employer Services, but it's between them.
In between them.
It's just a garage bay like space.
116 is 118 West Woodard, like I said. 120 West Main, that's the Main Street Diner and Candy Store. So that will be on the tour.
That's for lease.
The old Zigzag Gallery, so 125 West Woodard is for lease. 200 West Main, so right there on the corner. That's the one with the Wild West mural on the side, on the Austin elevation.
What number did you say that was?
200 West Main, so right there on the corner.
Oh, it's for lease?
Yes.
The one that's been empty for a while?
Yes.
Finally?
Yes. I think it might need some work, but it's available, or no, it doesn't have.
I mean, I don't know. Last time I was in there, they had just opened it and it looked fresh. So
Yeah,
I
haven't
don't
been
know.
there either.
Probably depends on what you're going to use it for.
Yeah. 203 West Main, so that is where the Main Street Salon Suites were. That one's for lease now.
Did they move out of downtown or did they close or?
They moved out.
Yeah. 210 West Main, so that was Monarch and then Leap and Littles, and now it is for lease. Decorating. 213 North Burnett, that is the Presbyterian Church. It has some space for lease in there. 307 West Main was Sweet Little Repeat, and now that is for lease. 420 West Main is Spit Bella. There for lease. 425 West Main is for sale. That's the Studebaker Museum. And 431 West Main, that is I forget the name.
It's the Watson
The Watson
building.
building, yes, with Guyman Brothers and Heaven's Journey. That building is for sale as well. So those will be on our tour. Those are all our tour stops today.
When he sells, is he gonna take his collection out of Denison? The Studebaker building?
I don't know. He's got another.
It's one of my favorite parts of Denison.
Yeah.
I was asking.
Yeah.
So cool.
It has a lot of nostalgia to it, so.
Yeah, he's got another location that he's got them stored, but I don't know.
Yeah.
My concern is the downtown.
I know, yeah.
And I would, yeah.
All those are his though. I think he lets other people park there too.
And he could, I don't know, that's why I was curious, because I knew it was a collection.
Yeah, it's his brother-in-law's.
It's cool, it's just never open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Design committee?
We.
I have something for the economic
Oh yes.
possible, sorry. I don't know if it falls underneath it. But is there a way that, I think we mentioned it one time, is there a way that we can propose, or the city can propose for downtown business owners about the utility, like a group utility rate?
So we talked about that, and I didn't have any experts present at the economic restructuring, or that's what we used to call it, economic vitality meeting. So I've got a survey developed and ready to send to the business owners, asking them. I have a feeling that maybe some of the business owners are like experts in that and could help us, but if not, it's a survey, which was part of the conversation that night, to see who your carrier is or your provider is. No, for the business's electricity. So that's the first steps to it. And I've got that survey, I think I did it Monday, but I'm working on an email to send out to everybody to see. So we're working on it, but I didn't have anybody that could provide. So what do we want to ask?
The base rate now has tripled since 2002 when I purchased, and we probably flush the toilets 4 times a month. We don't use any other water, and our water bill in downtown here is more than my house, which is a lot of kids and a constant water usage. It's double downtown. My water bill, all of our water bills start at $200, $220, and it used to be 140.
So I had, there was a Facebook thread, and they checked into it. The water department looked at everybody's, and one qualified for an adjustment. So I think it's more. It's not a question that I would ask on the survey, because like, I know who your water provider is. It's the city of Denison, but it is something that we can.
Mention when I called is maybe we could get together and offer the downtown people, knowing that most of us aren't open crazy, living there 24 hours. Those that aren't, if we could get a group like business discount for downtown area.
Okay.
Melissa, you might
They
call.
mentioned it.
You might call because there's actually a credit on my account now.
I called and I have no usage. It wasn't an adjustment or anything. Yeah, we have like no usage and we're paying $220. Yeah, I called because that's what she explained. And I'll call again, but then she had mentioned, well, she's like, maybe you guys can all get together. And I was like, maybe it's worth a shot. Doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it wouldn't go on the survey.
If you get together, it'd probably be helpful if you had your bills and you could compare. You know what I'm saying?
Like, what's going on here?
Exactly, like literally
Yeah.
get into the details, because I think that would better inform them on their side. Yeah. That's just the auditor and me going, let's look at what the numbers tell us.
So we are working on the electric part, and we can add the water part.
All right, design committee?
Yeah, we just did the drive around, so looking for things that need attention.
Organization committee?
We have the volunteer breakfast, as Grant mentioned, and that is on April 18th. It's a free breakfast. We're not trying to sign you up for anything, or we just want to give you free birthplace tours, free prizes, and a good breakfast. At Eisenhower Birthplace. It's at 9 a.m.
Director's report?
I think most of it would be covered in the agenda items that we've already gone over. So Texas Treasures is for businesses that are over 50 years. And in about 2016, we had maybe 22 businesses that qualified. It was the first time. And so we had the state come up. We had a big reception in the SNAP Center and recognized everybody for being over 50 years. So fast forward to now, we've got some more that qualified. One that qualified then, but we couldn't quite get the documentation together. And so Holder Insurance, Hickory House Barbecue, Munson Law, those are qualifying now, and some others, I think, maybe 5. But it's just recognizing it's a state program through the Texas Historical Commission that if you document that they've been in business in Texas for 50 years, continuous service, that we can recognize them. And so one of the questions on the survey that I'm sending out, it's a 10-question survey, I believe, in, like name, address, or some of the questions. But when did you start business in downtown Denison? So you probably know that year right off, unless it's been a long, long time ago, and you may have to look it up. But it's to get a starting point for all those. And you see some that have their 10-year anniversary. Well, that's a big deal, and we want to try to get ahead of that too and celebrate with you. And so we can just better plan if we know when you start a business in downtown. And then another question is if you didn't start in downtown, when did you start your current business? Because let's say you were outside of downtown, but you moved to downtown. It doesn't have to be a business in one location for 50 years. It's just got to be in existence for 50 years. So that's why that's the question.